What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Back with another video. We're headed up to our job site. We're starting a new project this week, doing a kitchen remodel for a friend. So yeah, getting a little bit of a late start. Had to get the truck backed up, had to get all my stuff situated, and now we're on our way. It is a cold but nice sunny day it looks like we might have, so I'll take it. This weekend, come out, the Wicked Cod Show in Boston, Mass. It's a new show. It seems like it's going to be a cool one. I'm really looking forward to it, and excited to be back in Boston for a couple days. So hope to see some of you guys there. Hope to see some familiar faces, some new faces, all of that. So and then next show after that, Black Friday weekend, back at Lee Outlets for the Pokemon Outlet. And that's going to be a 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come through. It's going to be sick. That was a great show last time, and I'm looking forward to it again. All right, guys. So today, wanted to talk a little bit about the state of the market, how people are reacting to the state of the market, and I'm not going to directly address anybody, but just some of the opinions I see online about who's at fault for the current state of the market. Is it the scalpers? Is it the vendors? Is it the investors? Is it the distributors? Is it GameStop? Is it the Pokemon Company? Whatever. There's a lot of finger pointing going on, which actually I think just is, pretty typical of most markets. Everybody wants somebody to blame for them not being able to get the price that they want on certain items or products or whatever. People like to have a scapegoat, and I think a lot of these people, more power to them. It's okay. I understand that it's okay. You're allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to be right or wrong. And but I just think what it comes down to is that a lot of these people don't understand the complexity of a market. They think that one person's to blame for price levels across the entire market, and they don't understand how capital flows and how different things coalesce to bring about a particular market and state and time in the market. So I would like to just start by encouraging you guys, if you have not, which you probably haven't, totally fine, but some required economics reading, some really easy basic reading. It's just a little essay, but it's a very illustrative one. It's called I, Pencil, and the author is Leonard Read, and he's an economist. And in this essay, Leonard Read describes how people think that markets and production is kind of like something that you can know and understand and wrap your head fully around, and it's really simple math. And in my opinion, a lot of people, when they talk about or think about economics, this is where they go wrong originally. And so in this essay, he's talking about pencils. What about pencils? They seem like this really, really simple thing to produce, right? You see one, it's, 8 inches long. It's made of wood and graphite and some rubber and a little piece of metal, whatever. It's super easy to make, right? But as he goes through this essay and explains the processes that are necessary to produce just one pencil, you come to realize how infinitely complex the process is to make just a pencil, and how his point comes down to that not a single person in the history of the world really knows how to break down and knows all the parts that go into making a pencil, even though it's such a simple object, so easy to understand, right? But his point is, so say you're the guy that runs the pencil factory. What materials do you need to make pencils? Well, you need wood. All right, so let's start there. So you need a source of wood. You need somebody who's got raw land, somebody who's got a lumber mill, somebody who's got then the ability to ship you raw materials. Then you've got the specialized machinery that turns the raw materials into your pencil-shaped pieces of wood. Okay, so that seems pretty simple, right? Except the owner of the factory is likely not going to be the owner of the lumber mill or the owner of the raw piece of land that the lumber comes from. He's not going to know how much is the taxes on that property, how much acreage do you need, what do you need to harvest all the materials, what do you need to transport all the materials, how do you do maintenance on all the transportation machinery, how do you do maintenance on all the harvesting machinery, how do you do maintenance on all the lumber mill machinery, what kind of fuel is there, how much does the fuel cost in the local area where you have to do it. Oh wait, now there's fuel introduced. How do you get fuel? Where does the fuel come from? Well, now does the pencil factory owner need to buy a fuel production, harvesting, refinery, transportation, an intermediary, tankers, storage? How about the lubricant? There you go. There's a whole nother rabbit hole. Okay. How about the import fees? Because most of the raw lumber comes from a different country to the production company that makes the pencils. All right. So you see how this is kind of like an unending complex web of different things you need to know. And that's just for the wood. Then you go to the rubber. Where do you farm rubber from? Rubber trees in East Asia. How do you get that harvested? How do you turn the raw material into the rubber material? How do you transport it? Then you've got to own shipping containers. You've got to pay freights. Oh, now there's freighters. Oh, now you got to figure out the entire freighting industry. How about the graphite? Same problem, right? There's all these different things, and there's not a single person that actually knows the complexities of all of these different industries that coalesce together just in order to make a pencil. And then, on top of that, the entrepreneur might know the finishing stages of this. Okay, now we've got the actual assembly. We've got assembly machines, specialized cutting machines and assembly machines and packaging machines. And so they might know that, assuming that they're running the plant that actually assembles them and they're not outsourcing that. And they might know, they would have some knowledge of the distribution model. Well, where do we sell this to? Staples, Office Depot, Walmart, school supply stores, I don't know, all over the place, right? So then there's this whole distribution model that needs to be known and needs to be figured out. And that's freight and delivery and wholesale to retail. And now you've got to talk to all these retailers about carrying your products, all this stuff. It's infinitely complex just to produce a pencil. And when that comes to a different market, like the Pokemon market, people love to just single out one group or one company and try to point the blame at them. If that's scalpers, that's scalpers. If that's the Pokemon Company, oh, well, the Pokemon Company should just increase their print runs. Okay, what if they're already at capacity for their print runs? So, I know that people are under the impression that the Pokemon Company has infinite resources, but the actuality of it is that everyone's resources are finite. You can distribute them differently, and you could say, oh, well, they should do this, they should do that. But in reality, you don't have even in the realm of a comprehensive grasp on what's going on with the Pokemon Company, what their resources are being diverted into, how much is going to R&D, how much is going to, pick whatever, So people just love to, without even close to perfect information, speculate, which speculating's fine, but when you're doing the blame game thing, it kind of gets a little, annoying, truthfully. And people just, oh, well, they should do this, they should do that. It's like, all right, then start your own TCG and show them how it's done, I guess. Good luck. You don't know what it's like. How many artists does the Pokemon Company pay? How many distributors do they have to deal with? How many print factories are they dealing with? How do you standardize print run quality across different manufacturers with different managers, with likely different machinery and different sources for their ink and their paper and whatever else goes into the production process? I don't pretend to know. And I think people should just be a little more humble about what they actually know when it comes to this stuff. Because truthfully, a lot of you guys that like to talk about this stuff, I don't think you have any clue what it actually... there's people that do. And those are the guys in this space that talk about this stuff that I respect their opinion. But there's a lot of guys that just love to point blame because it generates outrage and people love to be outraged. And so, yeah, blame the scalpers, but is it the scalpers' fault that the buyers will still buy at a high price? Not really. The market's the price of products is not solely determined by the sellers. If nobody buys it, that's not the price. If sales volume stopped selling at market prices, sellers would be forced, some sellers, not all, but a lot of sellers would be forced to reduce their prices until they could find a buyer. Greed works both ways. Buyers want to buy for the cheapest price, sellers want to sell for the highest price. The middle point is where you create a sale, and that's what sets the market over thousands and thousands of transactions. And so, I think just singling out one entity or one group of people, one group in the resale market or whatever, it's really myopic and short-sighted, and just shows how typical it is for people to talk about things they don't know about. And I include myself in that. I try to be somewhat humble about knowing the trajectory of the future of the Pokemon market. I'm not sure. If you ask me about any long-term forecast predictions or something, I don't know. Sealed will probably do well over time. Other than that, I don't know. Halfway through the Mega Block, Pokemon could throw out 3 duds in a row and crash interest in a market. I have no idea. No clue. Don't pretend to. And I think a lot of these guys, it's just oh, well, the scalpers and the market price should be MSRP. It's okay, dude, well, it ain't. So your opinion's irrelevant. People will side with you because they are buyers and they are greedy in their own way, as in they want to buy for the lowest price. Nothing wrong with that. Totally get it. Me too. I'd love to buy ETBs for $50 and resell them for whatever. I haven't caught a retail drop in 6 months. It's not really part of my business model. I do get the frustration because there are people that, they're on limited budgets and they're collectors or they have kids or whatever. And they just want a few ETBs for a new release to rip, or a booster box for a new release to rip. Totally understand. I would probably rip more if I could get stuff for MSRP too, but I can't, and neither can you, for the most part. So we're all in this together, I guess. Yeah, I think that's kind of mostly what I wanted to talk about today, was just like really consider the fact that the market is much more complex than you have the ability to understand. Be a little humble about that, because it'll probably make you complain less about the current state of the market. There is heightened demand. All else being equal, supply not catching up to heightened demand, prices are going to go up. You can say, oh, well, MSRP. Okay, but once it hits shelves, it's a free-for-all, man. Like, if there's an arbitrage opportunity in any market, in any space, and by arbitrage I mean a way that you can make money where there's a discrepancy between a buy-sell price and a sell price. If there's any market, people are going to take advantage of that. And if you want to go, oh, well, that's evil. Oh, well, that's wrong. Go ahead and complain. Do it all day long. Scream from the rooftops. Scream from your Instagram account or YouTube or whatever. Go ahead. That's fine. But to me, it's just whining. It's just complaining. It's just, if you put the energy into work, into spending time sourcing better deals, into making money elsewhere so you can afford your hobbies, if you put that energy you've got whining into that, you'd probably have money for whatever you wanted to buy. But instead, if you're making money complaining about the market, then hey, I respect the hustle, I respect the grind, keep going, get your money. But if you're making money doing that and then complaining about the prices, you're kind of a hypocrite, right? Because you wouldn't be making the money otherwise if there was no outrage to generate. So if we all had MSRP, your entire social media platform would not have the same reach. So you're complaining about having the following you do, pretty much, which is silly. And I just think to be in this market, in the current state of it, to be living in the world today where prices of everything are going up across the board, oh, well, they should keep MSRP the same forever and never change prices. Well, gas costs more, real estate costs more, taxes cost more, import and export fees are higher, wages cost more. What do you mean? Every company should take profit margins off the table so that you can get the same thing for the same price forever? That's not how markets work. That's not how real life works. And, you can think that it should work another way, but you probably, if you think it should work another way, you just have some like weird idealism in your head that's not real. And that's fine. Go ahead and fantasize about the way things should be, but it's not real life. You don't understand how markets work. You're not factoring in certain things that go into production and distribution. And so Fantasize all you want. Generate all the outrage you want. Go ahead. This applies to every industry, by the way. Everything, you know, housing prices up, gas prices up, cost of living up. And I sympathize. It sucks. But that's the way of the world, guys. You can be mad about it, or you can get more money and deal with it that way. And I suggest the second option. I'm trying to do the same. So, and that works a lot better in my experience. So, I guess that's pretty much it. If you got to the end of the video, I appreciate you guys. Shout out the Dynamics Cards and Collectibles show that I went to over the weekend. It was a blast. I got some really good deals. I traded away some slabs that were taking up a little too much room in my case. I ended up picking up a red-green gift set Articuno PSA 10 holo that I'm super psyched about. And if you want to check that out, go to my Instagram. I just uploaded a reel about it, and I was psyched about that. I ended up bringing my brother and my nephew to the show. It was both of their first card show, and we had a blast. It was a great time. Highly recommend getting your friends and family into your hobbies, because it makes them more fun when you have people to do them with. So, I don't know, guys. Be pessimistic, or, you know, be outraged about the market all you want. The market don't care. The market's going to market. You have no control over it. You're better off just trying to get some more money and participate in the market with more money than less. That's the workaround. So that's the video for today, guys. And I will see you all in a day or two. All right, later.